What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you for Friday, March 3rd, 2023. We have 10 games in the NBA going on today, and I have 3 player props that I want to share with you. Two, and one of them is not on the board yet, but once it drops, I'll tell you what to keep your eyes out for. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits. And to kick things off, let's go ahead and recap our 3 plays from yesterday. All right, so let's dig into these 3 plays from yesterday. We had Looney over 21.5 PRA. He didn't get it done, got into some early foul trouble, picked up 3 fouls in the first half. I don't even think he finished the first half on the court. He was on the bench, then comes out, starts the third quarter, picks up a 4th foul. And that was pretty much it for him. Got some garbage time run in what ended up being a blowout, pretty lopsided game, and finished the game with 20 PRA. So leaves you scratching your head thinking, what if he had not picked up that 4th foul? Kawhi Leonard, over 24.5 points, finished the game with 21. Didn't see any time in the 4th quarter. That game was well out of hand. And Tyronn Lue decided to just pull his starters and really just, save their legs for tonight's game versus the Sacramento Kings, which is another must-win game for the Clippers. We talked about if they lost this game and Dallas won, how they would just drop to the 7th seed, and that's exactly what happened. So they're slowly falling out of playoff contention and into that play-in bubble bracket, which is kind of nasty. And then the last play that we took was Kristaps Porzingis over 2.5 assists. My theory, my logic behind this was Beal would have a great night from the field, allowing Kristaps Porzingis to dish out a few assists. Also, that big front court, lengthy front court of the Toronto Raptors would cause a few problems in the paint for Porzingis, forcing him into more passing opportunities. 0-3 on the day, but today's a new day in the NBA, and we get to do it all over again. And I got 3 player props that I'll share with you, like I mentioned before. So without further ado, let's get it going. All right, first prop on the board that I want to talk about is Trae Young, 10.5 assists, and I like the more on this prop for Trae Young. Heading over to props.cash, we spoke about this in the early look and research video, Portland being the 25th ranked team in the NBA versus assists allowed per game. And that's exactly what Trae Young does on a consistent basis. Even when he has off nights like we've seen over the last 3 games, he's giving you 9, 8, and 7. Now, what I like about this is that we're seeing that beautiful little downtrend, and right about now is when we expect that thing to pick right back up. So if we expand this out to the last 30 games, we can kind of see what that looks like in a larger frame here. When Trae Young has these moments, these little slumps of some down production, the next game, not the next game, but the game where he picks it back up, it's just above and beyond where he was. So look at these 2 games here, and then boom, bounces right back up. These 3 games he slumps, boom, right back up. 2 games he slumps, boom, right back up. So in this matchup versus the Portland Trail Blazers, this looks like a great opportunity for Trae Young to exploit a defense that allows a lot of assists. Also, something that came to mind was a little bit of a different looking Portland Trail Blazers team with Matisse Thybulle on the floor, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Trail Blazers put Thybulle on Young, which could minimize his scoring and create more assist opportunities for him. That's kind of what I'm thinking to support the assist allowed. So Trae Young is already in a good position, but with a pretty good defender in Thybulle possibly on him, I think that could create just more opportunities to assist his teammates. So give me the more on Trae Young's 10.5 assists. The next prop on the board that I want to talk about is 15.5 points for Cam Johnson, and give me the over on this point prop versus the Boston Celtics tonight. As we head on over to props.cash, this play is less about the matchup and more about the volume and minutes for Cam Johnson. Over his last 5 games, you can see he's playing roughly 30 minutes a game, but his shot volume has been on another level. Over the last 5 games, we've seen upwards of 15, 18 shot attempts. So bringing that to an average of around 14 shots per game. And just to show you some contrast here, over the last 30 games, and this is a combination of his time in Phoenix and Brooklyn. You know, we can see in this area here, over here, this time spent in Phoenix, and then in Brooklyn, we can see the volume, we can see his usage increase, and that's a great sign for a point prop if you're looking to play the over. So I really like this. In addition to that, I mean, this, something I mentioned in the early look video, possibility of a letdown game here for Boston. We see it a lot in sports where teams put a lot of effort into more of a marquee matchup, and the next game is typically against a team that's not as good, and they let their guard down. They don't come out with as much intensity. They come out a little flat. So I think that's a possibility here for Boston, and it just makes me like the more on Cam Johnson's full game points. I initially liked the over the more on his first half points, and I believe it was on the board yesterday. They took it off the board, and I don't hate the 10.5 PRA, but Cam Johnson is a scorer. The majority of his PRA comes from points. It's very possible that he gets you 10 points in the first half and no rebounds, no assists. And so I think this is just a bit more risky. Low floor here. I think this is more of a high floor play. So I'll take the over on Cam Johnson's 15.5 full game points versus the Boston Celtics. All right, final prop on the board that I want to talk about is Walker Kessler over fantasy points. Now, fantasy points not on the board for him, but if we can get this prop in or around that 33.5 to 36.5 range, I think we should feel pretty good about that. So let's dig into why I like Walker Kessler today. All right, so when we target fantasy points, we're not just targeting actual points and rebounds and assists. The biggest difference between fantasy and PRA are going to be blocks and steals, because they account for so many points, 3 points per block and steal. When you have a player that racks up blocks and steals in such high volume like Walker Kessler, it does appeal to you more when you look at the fantasy points versus any other part of their game. What they lack in rebounds, assists, or even points can be made up for in blocks and steals. So just checking these stats out over on props.cash, one thing that really stood out to me, and I'll pull up just blocks alone because it won't show you with steals and blocks, but right now OKC is 28th in the NBA in blocks allowed, giving up 5.5 blocks per game. 30th in the NBA in center defense. So they still lack a true paint presence, and I believe they thought Chet Holmgren could have been that person. But right now you're looking at guys like Jalen Williams with the Y. There's 2 of them, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl playing the 5 right now. And so those are your 2 centers. Those are your 2 bigs. And so I think, again, lacking a true paint presence contributes to them allowing, so many shots blocked. It's just a good matchup for Walker Kessler, who last game had 7 blocked shots versus Oklahoma City. Now, should we expect that again? Expect is a dangerous word in daily fantasy. So I will say that even if we were to slide his stats back a little bit, so let's pull up his points over that last game versus OKC. So had 7 points. I think 7 points is within reason. I think 7 to 8 points. So if we say he scores 8 points, that's fair. Now the rebounds, 18 versus Oklahoma City. Let's go back and look at his 10-game log and say the median on this would have been 14. Let's go with 12 and say he gets 12 rebounds today. So those 8 points plus 12 rebounds, that's 23 fantasy points. His assist, Not going to do a whole lot in that category, but he should get you 1 assist. So that's 24.5 fantasy points right there. Now let's go to steals and blocks. Now this is where the gap will be made up. Now, I don't think 7 is going to happen every single game. It feels like it could, but I think 4. I think 4 is truly fair, and if you add all that up, that's 12 additional points on top of his 24.5 points already. So that's 36.5 fantasy points for Walker Kessler. Turnovers are also a part of all this, so not going to turn the ball over a whole lot. So that's 36.5 fantasy points, and we're playing it safe with that projection. So the upside is immense for this prop. Once it hits the board, I hope we can get it in or around that, like I said, 33.5 to 36.5 for Walker Kessler, and that would make me pretty happy. So go ahead and give me the over. We'll go ahead and take the PRA just for the sake of this video, just to put something on the board. But yeah, definitely like the over on Walker Kessler's fantasy points once we know what those are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's video. Quick recap, we like the more on all 3 of our plays. Trae Young, 10.5 assists. Cam Johnson, 15.5 points. And Walker Kessler over fantasy points. We don't have that prop up on the board yet, but if we can get it in that 33.5 to 36.5 range, we like it. Quick update on memberships and what I'm working with right now. Just really waiting on YouTube to approve everything, and then once that gets approved, you'll have access to 2 different tiers, but each tier will get you a little bit more information on top of what you're already getting with these free YouTube videos. So things such as additional player props with detailed write-ups. You'll gain access to the personal slips that I'm playing that day, so you'll be able to look at what I'm playing in 2-pick powers, 5 and 6-pick flexes. You'll also get access to priority comments. So questions, comments that you leave, members will get priority to that. So those will be the first comments and questions that I attend to. And then personal shout outs, recognition in all my upcoming videos for all your amazing support. So stay tuned for all that. Again, as always, thank you so much for the continued support. The likes, the subs, the comments, they truly mean a lot in helping this channel get a bit bigger every single day as we push towards 3,000 subs. Thank you once again, and until tomorrow's final look video, Chavez is